Hey guys, can you hear me? Am I still unmuted? Good, good, good. All right. I'm grateful to be in a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous tonight. Um, wow, lots of early recovery. I'm super stoked to be talking to you guys tonight. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about my story for 20 minutes or so, and then let you guys share because I'm much more interested in what you have to say than what I have to say. I've got a friend here that reached out to me, and she's on her first Zoom meeting tonight with us, and uh, she can't stop drinking, and I'm so grateful she reached out to me today. And it's good to reconnect, and especially reconnect with somebody that's struggling with alcoholism. My sobriety date is 6/22/05, and for those that are math impaired, that's 15 years and some change. And nobody is more surprised by that than me. I can tell you, if you'd have told me I'd be here 15 years later, I'd tell you were crazy. And I am so grateful to have Alcoholics Anonymous be a big part of my life today. I have a sponsor who has a sponsor who has a sponsor. That's the way this deal works. My sponsor's name is Foster M. He got sober in LA. He's now in Louisville. And I am forever grateful for that man. He has helped me enlarge my spiritual condition in ways I didn't believe were ever possible. I'm also grateful to have a support group. I've got a couple of home groups here in Louisville, Kentucky. Baxter Avenue group that meets at 10:30 on Monday mornings in a church basement normally, but we're here on Zoom. And then You Are Enough Women's meeting that meets on Thursdays at a clubhouse here in Louisville, token 3 normally, but we are on Zoom as well, and that's at 9:30 on Thursdays Eastern Standard Time. And for those two meetings, I am forever grateful. I'm also incredibly grateful for Zoom during this time of pandemic because it has helped keep me sane during all this craziness. And uh, I didn't come into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous of my own volition. I was court ordered to be here. Um, I uh, I caught charges, as you kids like to say, and I got arrested twice in a 3-week period. And the first time I got arrested was for promoting prostitution, and I'll get to that in a minute. But the second time I got arrested was for something a little more serious, and I was looking at felony charges. So I went through a program called Drug Court. It's a court mandated IOP program. Some of you might be familiar with it. It is high accountability, and it lasted for a year. And I am forever grateful for that program and for the accountability that it gave me in my recovery, because I came into these rooms just to get a piece of paper signed. And I was not like you people. I did not want anything you all had to offer. I felt like you were a bunch of weak-minded people that are a bunch of nines that got together and whined about your problems. And I didn't want any part of that. And I came into the rooms focusing on all the differences, feeling very apart from. And guess what? I found them. I found all the differences in spades. And I kept my hat pulled down and my arms folded and sat in the back of the room and took my paper up at the last minute, got it, and bolted out the door. I didn't want you people to speak to me at all. You all were a little too cheery for me. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if there was some magic Kool-Aid somewhere that I would get introduced to at some point or what. But I didn't want anything you all had to offer. I sat in the rooms for 4 months, focusing on all the differences, miserable, going to my IOP, feeling like it was some prison release program I was in, just really dreading everything about my life. And, it was the choices that I made that got me where I was. I grew up here in Louisville. I didn't grow up in an alcoholic household. I was introduced to alcohol when I was 16 or 17. And when I took my first drink, it did everything for me that I lacked. I couldn't, it made me feel confident in myself. It made me feel 10 feet tall, the center of attention. Everybody thought I was funny. I was funnier when I was drunk. And I vividly remember my first drink. Most of us do, as I have experienced and heard in the rooms. And I chased that feeling for a very long time. I was out in madness for 21 years. Now, I can't say I was balls to the walls and drunk all the time and drinking beer for breakfast and doing stuff 24/7 because my alcohol and drug addiction were just kind of up and down. And I lived a life where I partied on the weekends. I went to school. I got my degree. I did all the things that life and society told me I was supposed to do. And it and I was still miserable. And I didn't know why. I thought you guys had been given a manual to life that I missed that day of class. It's like everybody seemed to have some direction. And I was just kind of aimlessly moving through life. I'm really big into music. I love live music. I go to a lot of shows. And I started going to bars at a really young age and watching live music. I ended up moving to Houston, Texas when I was 19, 20 years old to be closer to a band that was actually from Baltimore. So I'm not really sure the logistics there. It was my 19-year-old brain and alcohol induced. And anyway, I moved with a friend to Houston, and that is where I did party for 24/7. It was beer for breakfast. I lived on Cool Ranch Doritos and Budweiser for like 9 months. It would, and the 6 foot long blimpy sub they bring at happy hour to the bar. That's what I lived on. And whatever I could get in a hookup with a guy, um, whatever they had, I was willing to do it because I identify myself as an alcoholic and an addict. I'm both, and I don't ever want to forget that. Because if I say I'm one, my disease does little tricksy things in my mind that tells me I'm not the other. So I just cover all the bases and say I'm an alcoholic and an addict. But the truth be told, I'm addicted to more, whatever you got to make me feel different, to make me feel better, to make me feel this much more, or to bring me down. Because as you can imagine, and you've heard me speaking now for a couple of 3, 5 minutes, whatever, I'm a little high strung. So that that is what I chased, that feeling I got the first time I did anything, whether it was dope, whether it was drinking. I chased that for a long time, and I got close many times, but I never did. I did too much all the time. I passed out. I never blacked out. That was one of the big differences I noticed about you guys. It's like, you guys talking about these blackout things. I passed out. It's like the running joke with my friends was, where's Michelle? She's passed out in the car. It's like I would feel it when my body would start shutting down when I was partying, and I would just go to the car and pass out, and I'd wake up and be home, or wake up and be in front of my friends' apartments and stagger into their place and pass out. But I did that for a long time. I ended up, money ran out. I couldn't get my dad to send me anymore. Moved back to Louisville, worked a bunch of dead end jobs. I've worked in record stores all my life, and now you know what a record store is. I used to have to tell people what record stores were. But I worked in record music stores for a big part of my life. I've worked in over a dozen of them, and I'm still in that field relatively so today. I work in a bookstore. We sell records and all this kind of stuff. So I've always had the hip cool jobs, and I've been able to meet a lot of people and party with a lot of people. And I always believed that I was destined for great things. And what those great things were, I don't know. I hooked the coattails of some rock star and traveled the country with it. Hell, I don't know. Wasn't qualified to do anything, didn't have any kind of special real talent for any of that. So I just kind of floundered around to these jobs, went back to school because that's what society and my parents kept telling me to do. So did that, got a degree in English, which I've learned qualifies me for nothing. I can speak well and I can write well, but I didn't know what to do with that degree. So I kept working these jobs, and my life was never fulfilled. And fast forward, my dad gets into the adult entertainment business. I've been working for my dad on and off for a bunch of years, and I'm not working for him now. But he ends up opening up this adult entertainment place here in town. I start running this business. We do private modeling in the back. That's where the promoting prostitution charge comes from. When I got involved in that business, that's when I totally lost my soul. I lost all sense of integrity about who I was as a woman, how I felt about this business. I spent a lot of time rationalizing and justifying that business. And again, I've got the cool job. Everybody wanted to know more about that business and what that was about. And all around this time, I realized I'm gay. I come out at 24, And that was the piece I thought was missing in my life. I was like, I was sure that me realizing I was gay, and the precursor to my realizing that was like down in a 12-pack listening to music and sitting sobbing in my house alone and just coming to that realization. So I realized I'm gay. Well, for me, that kind of hit the reset button on my disease. And I went out to the bars, and because I'm now gay, I feel like I have to do gay things and be with gay people and like gay things. And I don't know any different. So I start hanging out with all these people. It was culture shock in the truest sense of the word. So I had my old friend alcohol there with me, and that was the great social lubricant that got me through those awkward situations and talking to a girl and hooking up and all that kind of stuff. And I really think that, and the reason I bring it up is twofold. One, I really think I would have maybe made it into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous a lot sooner than 37. And two, I'm here to tell you I'm openly out and proud, and I want anyone that's in the rooms that might be queer that thinks that they are different than all these straights in the room or whatever. You're not. Alcoholics Anonymous is one of the most inviting, welcoming communities that I've ever experienced in my life. And I was really, really nervous when I first came around, thinking you all be thinking I was trying to get with all these women in women's meetings and all this kind of thing. And, that's simply not true. When I started getting to levels of honesty about myself and let you guys know who I was, it did not matter to all the straight people in my life. Most of my friends are straight today. I realized I didn't have to do all the queer things and be all queer ways. It's like I can just be me. And that's all well and good. And, that wasn't what was missing in my life. It's like I couldn't figure out what it was. So I went about my business. I worked in this business for a bunch of years. My girlfriend ran it for a while, and we broke up. Then I ended up eventually in the business running the day-to-day, and it stole my soul. It stole my soul. I felt trapped in it because it was my dad's business, and I felt like there was no way out. And I really feel like it was a gift that I got arrested. It was a gift that the cops really harassed us. And eventually we shut down. And I went through drug court. And as I said earlier, and I stuck around, and I told you about the 4 months I was in the rooms focusing on all the differences. And it was then I asked a woman to sponsor me, and that's when my life changed. And I started doing this stuff. I started doing this stuff because I wanted to prove to her that it wouldn't work. And it was contrary to everything I thought about how life worked. I started doing all this stuff, and everything started to work, and things started to fall into place in my life. And today I have a life beyond my wildest imagination. Do I have a fancy car and a big house and a knockout girlfriend? No, I don't have any of those things. But what I do have is a life of serenity and contentment, because I do what people tell me to do. I do what my sponsor tells me to do. I've grown into loving myself. I don't wake up in the morning with that pit of my stomach feeling, wanting to crawl out of my skin every day. I know what that feels like. If you're new in here, please stick around. Focus on the similarities, because you're going to find those, and do what these people suggest you do. It's like, this is an amazing fellowship. I'm so excited to be part of it and doing this deal. I have a bunch of people I sponsor. I have lots of friends. I've been on the phone. What's going on in my life right now is I'm looking at a career change, and I've been in my job since I got sober. And it's huge. It's like 15 years of working the cool job. Now I'm going to have to go get some suit job or something, and I'm not real happy about that. But I know that the God of my understanding has a plan for me, and it's not up to me to figure out what that is. It's up to me to just suit up and show up and do the next right thing and do the work that's in front of me. And when I do that, things seem to have a way of working out. And I feel like I've talked enough. So thank you all for letting me share. I'm really appreciative of the fact I've been invited here. You guys are awesome. Thanks for paying attention. And I love you all.